Millennials can't afford to buy houses. We got told if you went to school and you got a good job and you graduated that you would be able to buy your dream home. We were sold this unachievable dream that if you work hard, you get what you want. It seems like no matter how many hours you put in, you're getting nowhere. On top of that, we have student loan debt that we need to pay off. Can't afford a house. We're in debt. The pandemic hit and inflation and food prices increased. Everything is more expensive, but the wages are the same. Forget about health insurance. We can't afford that. We're basically working like we're in 2015, but we can't afford McDonald's now. Boomers had it easy. They could afford a house. And now those 1960 houses are triple the price. Gen X doesn't care. They're like, it is what it is. Work harder. Gen Z doesn't know what's going on with us. And us millennials are the only generation left that cares about the future generations. But we're constantly getting told that we're spending too much on Starbucks, even though they're shopping at Temu. Even though we have 2 jobs. The government doesn't care about us. You want a work-life balance? Not possible. Millennials and Gen Z are going to inherit a system that is broken, and we're going to have to replace it all. And that's why it's important to vote for younger candidates that are in our generation that actually care about what's happening. Because the old white men sitting in the White House don't care about us. So we have to care.
Can someone tell me why LA is so fucking out of touch? My boyfriend and I are trying to move. Our cap is $5,000, which is basically a mortgage payment. I don't even know if I want to own a home. I would just like a little bit extra room. If we find something that we like, it's in a really shitty part of the neighborhood, or if we do find something that we're like, oh, okay, this is in our price range, which by the way, $5,000 is a lot of money to pay to rent something that you don't even own. And then we find something and then it doesn't have a yard for my dog, or it doesn't have a garage, and it's like, these are like, everybody should have a yard, everybody should have a garage. And you want me to pay $6,500 for something that doesn't have black mold in it? I mean, LA is just like, I don't even know how people live here. It's insane how expensive everything.
I quite literally have $7.41 in my checking account right now, and all I know is that God is faithful. I'm not worried about all the other stuff. You know why I have $7? It's because all my bills are paid. He provided a way for my bills to be paid, and now I got 2 legs that work, and I'm going to the gym, all for His glory. Period.
My rent just went from $1,360 to $3,900 a month. Also, I'm sick. Happy spring equinox.
I would have to disagree that $2,100 a month is damn cheap. And a lot of people have commented this, but it's just not true. So I'm going to explain why. The national average salary in the United States right now is $59,000, and $59,000 after taxes, your take home every month is about $3,800. So if you are a household or a single person living off of that one salary, that rent right there is more than half of what you're making. And that's just the average. So of course there's going to be people that are well below the average who cannot even afford a $2,100 rent that you guys are saying is cheap. Now, I'm not ungrateful at all. I'm blessed that we are able to afford this $2,100 of rent, which we got at this rate because we moved during COVID, during the height in 2020. We moved there in 2020 during the height of COVID, and they were having a really good deal because they were desperate to get people in. Now, unfortunately, that rent is about $3,000. But why are we normalizing? Why are we normalizing $2,100 a month of rent as being cheap when the majority of people in the United States don't even make enough to afford this type of rent? So many people have roommates. So many people who are families and have multiple children are living in an apartment instead of living in a house, which is what we are saving for. We're never going to own this apartment. We're all just throwing our money away, renting instead of buying. We have no buying power right now as millennials and as Gen Zers. Why aren't we able to afford to buy things like the generations before us did? How come we're the ones that are screwed? I was born and raised in California. It's not going to be possible for me to buy a home here because the average price of houses here, and these are old houses, like 1950s houses, is about $700,000. I thought I made decent money. Last year was the most I ever made, right? I thought that we would be able to afford a house. We're not going to be able to afford a house that's almost $1 million. It's just not going to happen. So I understand people saying $2,100 is cheap. It's not cheap. It's cheaper than other places, but we are all of us are being overcharged for rent. And these houses are insanely expensive. And there's like no chance of most people ever even being able to afford to buy a house in their lifetime. That's sad.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this humbly in hopes that I inspire someone on this Tuesday morning. My biggest flex in life right now is that, baby, I work a corporate job, but I live in a $900 apartment in the city.
Y'all know how back in the day they used to have rent parties to help somebody who was short on the rent or whatever. They all chip in a couple of dollars. People come over. Baby, this why we don't do that. We can't do that because everybody need help on their rent. Everybody need help on their rent. Shit. And that's how y'all know it should be a motherfucking problem.
Hey Tom, thanks for your questions. So what do I think about rent? Look, I have no problem with it at all. I've got a bunch of clients at the moment that can't afford to buy their dream home, so they rent. We still invest money for them and make sure that they've got good choices to invest. Ultimately, I think that with rent at the moment, it is expensive. However, if it's not an option to buy a property, or it's not within your budget, wherever you live in whatever city in Australia, renting becomes the only other option. Spending too much money on rent isn't a great idea because obviously it leaves less to invest and build wealth. Ultimately, people that I work with generally want to own their own home. We all know that that's not an option for most of Australia at the moment, so there's a lot of people that just can't afford to do it. I think that in spite of that, you should still be investing in other things that make money as long as they're good quality investments. Good luck, and if you need more help, reach out. Also, don't forget to like and also follow me. Thanks.
I just paid my rent, so this weekend I will be enjoying every wall in this apartment. Every room will be enjoyed. I will be just sitting here in amazement of my apartment, baby, okay? Because the way I just pay my rent, I don't care. Rent is high, and I paid it in full.
Why would they wait till we became the new adults to want to make one-bedroom apartments $2,500 a month?
Hey, how much do you pay for rent?
Oh, I don't rent, I own.
Oh, can I have a house tour?
Yeah, of course. Come check it out. Hi, and welcome to my redneck house tour. This is my house. Let's look inside. When you walk in, you got the hallway. And to my right, you got the living room area. It's very nice and comfy. It's also a spare room. Works in a jiffy. If you come down this way, to my right, we have the kitchen area. Now, this is my finest prized possession. We got a fridge fully stocked with your shit, I don't know. And then your freezer. It does work. Now, we ain't need no stove up in this bitch because we got our own ice maker, our conventional oven, and our microwave. And then we got ourselves a bread holder so none of our bugs and gnats get in it. You come over here, we got our pantry. Everything you can get from the commodities in here. Now, if you come over here, we got our silly living room with our dog. This is Layla. She lap dog. And out here, we got our garage. As you can see, we got some nice decor on the wall. Fast life. And then come over here to my bedroom. Complete with your own door for some privacy reasons. Set with a fan. Nice sturdy dresser. That ain't going nowhere. Okay. Got your bed. Some springs are loose, but it still get the job done just right. And then got our security camera. This came from a Ford Flex. We took the back camera off and we posted it up. So now we can see bitches in the driveway. If you're wondering, where do I get my shit in the piston? Well, if you look over here, my coachman right there, it's fully stocked with a shower and a toilet. So we always gotta have a restroom. Now, one thing I forgot to show you was the laundry room, and it does compact the laundry room in the garage. Now come. This right here is my washer. Okay. We do be washing our sheets, by the way. Now, you may be wondering where we dry our clothes. Now, I'm going to show you. All right. Now, this is where we dry our laundry. Don't worry, it is sturdy. Kind of. Out over here, we got a dryer. Now, it may not look like much, but let me tell you, it gets the job done. Now, that concludes the house tour. I hope you liked it. Thank you.
So this is not to be pessimistic. I'm just a realist. But do not feel bad for doing what you have to do in this economy. I've been seeing people post about how they had to give up their new car or how they had to go back to a 9-to-5 after doing entrepreneurship, move back in with their parents. And I know that it sucks. I just wanted to stress to you that it's not your fault. It's really the economy. As a millennial who lived through pre-pandemic and then now, it was totally different. Yes, I was able to pay off my car, but my car note was $300 a month. It was only $16,000 for a brand new car at that time. You can't find a brand new car for that price anywhere. Another thing too, when I was paying rent, it was $800 back in 2017, 2018. And that was for a 3-bedroom. That same apartment right now is $1,400 a month for a 1-bedroom. House prices, I could literally write an essay. I could write a book. The interest rates, of course, were way lower, but the house prices were not crazy. I bought my house for $165,000. The houses in my neighborhood right now are going for almost $300K, which is crazy. I say all that to say you can't take accountability for things that are just simply not your fault. Jobs are not paying that much. The economy is going up. Eggs are $31. So when it comes to doing what you have to do to survive in this economy, do not feel bad. It's just a sacrifice.
Besides the fact that I'm extremely struggling to pay my rent every month, you know how I realize that it's really, really bad out here? I live in the hood, okay? I live in the hood. The hood. Garbage everywhere. People's dogs not tied up. Pit bulls running around. Litter, dog poop. People riding bikes. Women of the night down the block. Like, I've been living here for 1.5 years. And when I first moved in, it was 100% black. Like, 100% black people. And now, I was just walking my dog and this white guy was like, to me, dead ass. Now, all of a sudden, I've seen at least 4 of the apartments taken by white people. And this is like the cheapest spot in town. Also, some Hispanics have moved in as well. Like, when I first moved in here, there was a white girl that lived here. But I feel like when I realized everything changed, when I seen white men moving in here, I was like, oh shit, it's bad out there. It's bad. And I'm actually scared, guys, for my lease being up in January. I'm very scared. I'm very scared for what's gonna happen. That being said, please help me get to 10K. Oh my God, I gotta get out the hood. Please, please, please. I'm not gonna be able to afford the hood. They've already raised my rent. They tried to raise it $125. I talked them down to $75. They're definitely gonna raise it again at that. And this is for the hood. No supermarkets, no restaurants, nothing. Like, I don't know, we're just sitting on here on social media talking about it, but it's like, what do we actually do? What are we actually doing? The election is in November and they haven't even talked about the election. They're not even like trying to get people to, come out and vote and be on our side, because I feel like they know what it is. They're gonna wait till the last minute to be like, all right, well, you have to pick somebody, you gotta vote for Biden, since you don't want Trump. Like, no, we can't do that. We cannot do that. I know it's a little bit all over the place, this video, but it's bad out here, dude. Rent is really bad. And yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm very scared. I don't wanna live in my car. Not with 2 dogs.
Hey.
Yeah.
How much do you pay for rent in Florida?
I actually don't pay anything for rent.
How do you make that work?
I live on a boat.
Can I see it?
Yeah, come on.
Is this the boat?
No, we gotta get to it. A lot of people just throw their trash in the ocean. This is it. Come inside, I'll show you around. Right here's the main living space. This is what you'd call like a saloon. This is the galley, the kitchen. In the galley, we have a 3-burner stove and oven, propane, and then we have running water.
Do you get power?
I have solar panels outside, and they charge these. Those are my power banks, and that charges my electric bike that I have tucked away in the corner. That is too big for this boat, but it's kind of necessary if you're going pretty far from your boat. Up forward here. Up forward is the head, the bathroom. And then right in here, this is the main bedroom, the V-berth, and that's where I sleep. And this is Calcifer, he's the boat cat.
Finally, the Department of Justice is now investigating the rent prices. And for you landlords, your days of price gouging are over. Now, shout out to Uprise, Rhode Island, because they published a story about how the FBI had raided an office in Atlanta called Cortland Management because of price fixing for rent. Now, the Department of Justice had launched this investigation and then issued out a limited subpoena in order to grab some information about how this property management company by the name of Cortland Management had been fixing the rent prices since 2016. Now, the story actually entails this software called RealPage, and it's a software that is sold to landlords who own like large properties in order to tell them how to determine rent rates. And that's normally fine, except RealPages covers about 60 to 80% of all rental properties across the United States. Now, according to Uprise, the scheme allegedly works by encouraging landlords to adopt the software RealPages pricing recommendations. Most landlords do about 80 or 90% of the time. This coordinated effort amongst landlords to follow the software's suggested drive up rental prices by reducing the availability of units. The goal is to prevent landlords from undervaluing their properties, thereby ensuring higher rents nationwide. So let me break the scheme down to you. So say a landlord has 100 units and the price is fixed at $1,200 a month per unit. Let's just say they're all 2-bedroom units. Now, the landlord goes and gets that RealPages software and it says increase the rent to $1,500 and then make only 20 of those units available, even though the landlord would still have 80 more units to rent. So now me, the consumer, is going to the landlord's property management website and I'm seeing these apartments that are nice, but they're not available. So then I rent, but 19 other people rent. Now, the landlord is making $1,500 a unit for only the 20 units he had available. And then he can slowly start opening up more units at that fixed rate. And now, let's say another landlord who owned a property next to my landlord, he sees those rates and then he does the same. There you have an inflation of rent vis-a-vis a domino effect. Now, the reason why the Department of Justice was so interested in this RealPages software is because that although rent prices were surging in 2016, they were noticing that there was an increased vacancy rate. So they were noticing that there were a lot more available apartments for what landlords were charging, which doesn't make any sense because if you have more vacancies, i.e., the rent should be coming down. So why was the rent increasing about 80% since 2016? Because of RealPages. Now, the investigation started off as a civil probe, and now it's starting to look criminal. Remember, RealPages is the largest rental suggestion software in the nation. In the nation. In the nation. So if all of our landlords are using the same software to suggest rent prices, then we got a problem. Because there's got to be a reason why the rent was so high. I'm going to keep you guys updated on this story, and as soon as the Department of Justice launches their first press conference about it, I'll keep you guys posted.